Hi guys, Squall here. Welcome to another episode of This May Contain Nuts. Thank you so much for carrying on sending in your questions. Today I thought we'd try something a little bit risky. I thought we'd go for the brand new online contract. Now I say it's risky because if I have to stop for whatever reason, I'm probably going to be late on this job. So this is going to be take the job, get on the road, answer questions and stuff, and then hopefully I won't be late for the whole thing. I've taken this job here. We're going all the way from Cambridge, which is here, which is not that far away from Chelmsford, just down there. We're going from Cambridge all the way up to Newcastle upon Tyne, so I'll be driving on the left of the road. I must remember to do that, by the way. And it's going to take, what, we've got remaining 5 hours. 16,000 euros is what we're going to get. So we'll instantly get teleported straight over to our starting point. I've configured a new truck. I've taken a Iveco, I think it is. It's about 450 brake Iveco. There we go. So we've taken this thing, Iveco Stralis 450 brake. Didn't bother to... I thought we'd do it without all the side skirts and the roof spoiler and stuff, and just go basic. I was kind of hoping to get... To be honest, I was kind of hoping to get a fuel job out of the online market, but I didn't see a single one. I don't know if they're not in there or I just didn't get one. Normally, I think you would take a roof spoiler when you're doing a box trailer like this, but like I say, I was kind of hoping for something else. Never mind. Let's start up. Which means we can get instantly on the road. Let's get the lights on. No need for the beacons. Have we got the... Yeah, we've got the sat-nav. Alright, let's use the built-in sat-nav. And just get straight on the road here. And we'll start answering questions. Right, Cambridge. First thing is, get on the left pole, get on the left pole. I'm so used to driving on the right in this game. That was one of the questions, wasn't it? Why do I always have the wheel on this side? And it's because I'm almost always on the right hand side of the road. So, it being Euro Truck Simulator. Anyway. Cool. I've only been to Cambridge a few times actually. It's quite a nice place. I haven't been there very much. I hadn't realised the Iveco's indicator is pretty much as slow as the MAN. Good grief. Listen to that. You could almost go to sleep. Listen to that. It's like a pendulum. Come on. Oh, don't be... Oh, good grief. Alright, so basically it looks like 122 has not actually... has not really changed the AI from giving way on roundabouts like that. Never mind. Okay, guys, this is like being in Britain all of a sudden. This is pretty much what happens in the UK quite a bit. Get out of the way, bro. Can you see what's happening here? On the other side of the roundabout, that car is on the inside lane, and for some reason, the outside lane, all the vehicles are going around the outside, which is not something that you do in the UK. Well, you're not supposed to anyway. That is the reason why you don't do it, because it's just crazy. Okay, I think I'm going to have to go around you, love. So please stay there. Well, there you go. So, 122 AI, I had read about some changes. Now I'm not so convinced that things have actually been changed that much. Anyway, let's get on with some questions, shall we? Speed cameras. Remember the signs are going to be in miles per hour here. My dial is in kilometers per hour. So I need to watch out for that. So, yeah, 30 is just a shade under 50k, roughly. There's a Gatso right there. It's the grey Gatso. They're actually, you saw it was orange on the front? They're actually yellow all over in real life. Anyway, first question is from Tyler Robertson. Tyler says, Paul, will you go to the next European truck competition at the Scania factory? Love your vids. Will I go to the next European truck competition? I actually don't know when it is. I think it's supposed to be... let me think about this. See, the last one, in theory, was meant to be 2014. But the final got pushed out until 2015. And it's every 2 years. So in theory, the next one should be 2016, which is, of course, next year. But I don't know if it's on. Certainly, I've not heard word from it. I've not been invited. So at the moment, there's nothing planned. But... I would love to go again. I really would. I had a great time. Met some great people, drove some trucks, and last time I went, I didn't get to go around the engine factory. I went on the chassis factory, which I made a video of, so hopefully you've seen all that footage. It's awesome, but I'd love to go to the engine factory. Don't get me wrong, I'd love to drive some trucks again, I'd love to meet fans again, and I'd love to go around the engine factory, but yeah, totally, if Scania invited me again, I would definitely go. Let's get in that lane. But at the moment, there are no plans to. Hope that answers your question. Next question is from Polar Gaming YT, and he says, do you have ETS2 or a similar game? Sorry, yeah, do you have ETS2 or a similar game will ever come to current gen consoles or future consoles? I think he means, do you think one will ever... I think what he's trying to say is, do you think Euro Truck will come out on Xbox One and PS4 or future consoles? I'm sure that's what he's trying to say. The thing is with ETS2 is that it uses its own... They use their own custom engine. They had their own custom graphics engine, which they developed in-house over many years. I don't think they want to get rid of that. I don't think they're particularly happy to throw away this engine, which they've invested, you know, thousands of man-hours in, which they own the rights to, and, you know, try to build the game on top of a different engine. You become reliant on that engine, you then have to pay royalties on the engine, but the upside is, if you choose the right engine, your game then becomes portable onto consoles. The reason you're not seeing this on Xbox One and PS4 is entirely because in order to put it onto PS4 and Xbox One, SCS would have to port their engine onto a console, which, as I would imagine, is a lot of work. A lot of work. It's the kind of resource they don't have. So that's why you're currently... I forgot about this. This is in England, which is early SCS, which means the lanes disappear from you. This doesn't happen later. Must remember that. I have to get in the right-on lane. That's the reason you're not seeing it on consoles. It's not because they don't want to be on consoles. You know, they would probably make quite a lot of money if they put this on console. There's a lot of people would love to play Truck at Euro Truck on Xbox One and PS4. Just insane numbers. I don't know how the whole mod thing would work. I doubt they could handle the modding. They'd have to do something clever with that to allow mods. But that's not the main obstacle, I don't think. I think the main obstacle is the resources required to port the engine onto the console. So I can't expect... I seriously doubt it will happen on current console. As to whether it will happen on future console, I think that literally comes down to SCS's resources and the direction they choose to take the company and the product in, which I'm not privy to, so I have no idea. But yeah, I'm sure you guys would love to, but at the moment, I wouldn't hold your breath for at least a few years. I would be amazed if they suddenly turned around and went, "We're announcing an Xbox One release." I'd fall off my seat almost if that happened. So I wouldn't expect it. The easiest thing to do is to try and get yourself, save up and try and get yourself a cheap gaming PC, and then just kind of upgrade it over time and just play it on PC. That's probably the best way to play Euro Truck. Next question. Crunchy Nutter 16 says, what would be your favourite old school arcade game? Example, Pac-Man, Tetris, Space Invaders. Eek! Wow. My favourite old school... I need to slow down a bit. My favourite old school arcade game. Good grief, sir. I used to love a game called Missile Command. I don't know if you've ever played Missile Command, but the arcade version... We've got average speed cameras. This is typical UK stuff here. You see the yellow ones? Travello they're called, I think. No, they're not Travello. What are they called? I can't think of the name. But the average speed cameras, there's no escaping them. They measure your speed over a distance and then average it out and then automatically send you a bill and a fine. Looks like they're building a bridge, look. See it? An overhead coming over. Missile Command used to have like a ball that you move the cursor around with. Fantastic interface. Hardly ever used anywhere apart from the arcade. But I used to love Missile Command. I used to love a game called Phoenix as well. Phoenix was one of those, a bit like a future iteration of Space Invaders, except these kind of birds would come down and they would, you know, morph into different things and split up and go through attack patterns which you had to learn. Not a massive fan of those kind of shooters, but Phoenix was definitely one of my favourites. What else have we got? Phoenix Missile. Tetris. I put Tetris up there with one of those all-time games. And Bejeweled, probably, you'd put up there with one of those all-time arcade games. Sega Outrun was one of my personal favourites. Absolute wonderful driving game in its time. Absolutely adored that game. Loved the music. You know, loved the Ferrari. Just loved everything about it. So, and what else? That tank game where you had two control sticks and you looked through a lens like you were the tank commander. That was also fantastic fun. I can't think off the top of my head all the different arcade games that I used to play, but they are some of the favourites. Of course, you got your classic Pac-Man, but Pac-Man is pretty boring because there was a set pattern for its solution, which once you learnt it, kind of took away the whole interest in the game. Unlike Tetris, which is kind of different every time, you know. But yeah, I hope that answers your question. Next one is from Daily Rail. Daily Rail? I don't know if he's into train sim, or whether he's into the Daily Mail newspaper, but anyway, Daily Rail says... hang on, let me get around this bend first before we read that. Daily Rail says, what is your opinion of Train Sim 2016, the price of quality of its DLC? Do you think Dovetail charged too much and deliver too little? That almost sounds like a loaded question to me. Do you think Dovetail charged too much and deliver too little? Let me be pretty honest about this, okay? First of all, I enjoy Train Simulator. The only other train game that you can play is Trains, yeah? They're the only really two in the market right now. And Trains, I think, was a bit of a fan letdown compared to what the Kickstart kind of suggested it might become. Train Simulator is going through a revamp with a new engine, you know, the Unreal Engine, so it will very much be brought up to speed. Currently the engine, the graphics are a bit dated. The engine is lacking in terms of modability and scriptability. It's fair to say, but it's also fairly complex and there's nothing else out there quite like it. I think the price of its DLC, the way Train Simulator, if you talk to Dovetail Games about the price of DLC, they will turn around and say to you that Train Simulator is, for many people, a hobby. And people spend a lot of money on their hobbies. It doesn't matter what kind of hobby you've got, and it could be building model trains or you know, building model airplanes or, you know, crochet or whatever it is, you know, painting Airfix kits. You spend a lot of money on it. If it's your hobby, it's your passion, you spend a lot. And if people love Train Simulator, if they love playing trains, and they do, people spend a lot of money. They buy new trains, they buy maps, scenarios they want to play on. That's the way it is. Now, when Dovetail price a DLC, it's the same as if you go and look on Flight Simulator. This is notorious. You think Train Simulator is expensive? Go and have a look at Flight Simulator. Like, one aircraft can cost you 80 quid. It's the way it is, because they're complex things. They take a lot of time to invest, you know, to build. But the marketplace, ultimately, is the deciding factor. If Dovetail came out and released a train and said, right, we want £100 for this train, nobody'd buy it. Like hardly anybody would buy it, because it would be priced out of the market. So the market always dictates what is acceptable and what isn't. It's not for me and you to say what is a reasonable amount of money. It's for the market. If I decide, no, that's too much, I won't buy it. And if most people do that, then the price was too high. It's pure and simple. Vote with your feet. If you think something's too expensive, don't buy it. Because if you do, you're sending a message to the developer to say, yep, that's fine. I agree with that price point. It's okay to release future things at that price. That's absolutely fine. Do you see the point? It's not really... You can grumble about the cost of things, but ultimately, if there are more people buying it and you don't agree with that, well, that's just tough, because the market is saying that's fine. So Dovetail will always, like any company, put something out at a certain price and then review it. If the sales are low, they'll reduce the price until sales pick up to an acceptable level. They get back their investment, they make a profit, and they move on to the next one. That, ladies and gentlemen, that is the way the world works. That's how companies sell. That's how they make things. That's how they make a profit. You're the consumer, you buy it, you choose to buy it, and the developer makes it, and they try to find a happy medium between, you know, you buying in enough quantity and then making a profit and covering their costs and being able to carry on. That's just the way the markets work, isn't it? So I don't think it's fair to say, do you think they charge too much and deliver too little? I don't think that's a question for me or you or for anybody else in a general way. It's a question for you as an individual to say, I don't accept that. If you're unsure, wait. Let somebody else buy it. Read the reviews. Steam reviews. There's always Steam reviews. Read the review on the page and see what people think. They'll give you the pros and cons. Apart from, you just ignore all the troll comments. But if you look, there's always people who review things quite well on Steam. They'll post an in-depth review saying it's got this, it's got that, the pros of this, the cons of that. And then you go, right, given that, is that too much? Or should I wait for a Steam sale? Because let's face it, Dovetail stuff is always in the Steam sales, right? Always. So if you wait for the next one, you're bound to pick it up at a fraction of the cost. So just do that. Better patience and you'll save some money. I hope that answered your question, Daily Rail. Possibly not what you wanted to hear, but hey, that's my opinion. Next question is from Louis Joe Bird. He says, what is your favourite Domino's pizza? What is your favourite Domino's pizza? I think it's called a Full House. I think I might be getting mixed up between Domino's and Pizza Hut. I'm going a bit slowly, by the way. I know it annoys a few people, but I have to read stuff and think about things as well. So, what is my favourite Domino's pizza? I think it's called the Full House. However, I think it's Pizza Hut, Domino's. I can't remember. One of them does a vegetarian spicy vegetarian hot. It's called. That's it. I don't know if it's Domino's or Pizza Hut, but I do like that one. Sometimes I don't fancy any kind of meat on the pizza, or my son's around and he's a vegetarian, so I'll get a vegetarian hot because I really enjoy it. But other than that, I would normally go with a Full House, I think it's called, or a meat feast. I'm a pepperoni pizza kind of guy. You know, the meatballs, the spicy sausage on there, the chilies. I'm all that. I'm not about chicken. I don't like chicken on pizza, and I certainly don't like, you know, anchovies or anything like that on pizza. I'm very much a ham, mushroom, spicy meat, spicy sausage, pepperoni. That's my pizza. If it's got any of that on it, I'll eat it, basically. Next question is from me the vlogger. Wait a sec, let me move over. I think I might have to be in that lane. Gotta love this nighttime driving. Me the vlogger, let's get in the middle lane, because I think that lane was about to hive off. Considering you love simulation games so much, would you consider playing City Skylines? Well, it's a shame really, because you've obviously missed the streams. I played City Skylines quite a lot on Twitch. And now you're probably annoyed and raging and thinking, well, hang on, I need to get in that lane. You're probably thinking to yourself, well, hang on a minute, Squirrel. If you played it on Twitch, why don't you play it on YouTube? Why don't you do a series? I want to see you do a series on YouTube. And here's the rub. When I look at a game, right, I kind of try to work out where do I think I can best kind of add value here? What do I think I can make this entertaining? Is it on Twitch or is it on YouTube? Or is it on both? In the case of, say, Euro Truck, right? That's a classic game that I can make interesting on both YouTube and Twitch. Same thing with Train Simulator, and same thing with Flight Simulator. Although with Flight Simulator, I would cut out the bit in the arse quite a bit. Whereas obviously when you're streaming it, it has to happen. But that's okay, because I can sit there and talk to chat. Twitch is an interactive platform, this is a pre-recorded platform, so I have to entertain you and you listen because you can't talk back to me. Whereas in Twitch, you can talk back to me and I can kind of engage with you. That's the difference. So in the case of City Skylines, I'm trying to work out which lane I need to be in now. In the case of City Skylines, I worked out that I could basically... Scumbag. I could play that better on Twitch than I could on YouTube. In my head, I couldn't work out how to make a Let's Play of City Skylines and make it interesting. I couldn't work out how to do it. Some other people have done it. I'm not saying it can't be done, because some people have done it. I'm just saying that for me, I couldn't kind of think how I would package that together so I didn't play it on YouTube, but I did play it on Twitch. And interactively, we built quite a big map and started to put people's houses and name people's houses based on their Twitch name. And it was very, very interactive and great fun. So I have played City Skyline a lot, but I haven't played it on YouTube. But if you missed it on Twitch, well, obviously you did miss it on Twitch, otherwise you wouldn't be asking that question. Then I'm sorry, but I'm not going to put it on YouTube, but I may play it in the future on Twitch again. So if you want to see it, unfortunately you have to watch on Twitch. Next question is from WWE Undertaker 92. Now that's a name I vaguely recognise. I think he watches on Twitch as well, because there's a guy named that in Twitch. So he probably watches the streams, unless it's somebody else. But he says, what is your opinion on gaming laptops? I used to have a gaming laptop about just over 10 years ago, I think. Yeah, it was 10 years ago. It was a Dell XPS. Dell XPS something or other. And it cost me, oh blimey, it cost me quite a lot, about £1,600 I think it was. It was quite a lot of money. And it was great. I could game on it all day long. I could still game on it a few years later. The downside is that the downside of gaming laptops is you can't upgrade them, okay? So once the power of your graphics card is starting to look a little bit like yesteryear, because the world has moved on, you can't take your card out and replace it. It just can't be done. It very, very, very rarely can that be done. Same with the processor. You can't swap it out for another one. Memory you can usually add to, but often you have to throw away the memory chips and replace it completely with brand new ones, because there are only a limited number of slots in the back. So gaming laptops are the kind of thing that you buy for convenience. If you're the kind of person that moves around a lot, maybe you're a mobile streamer, or you're visiting things, you know, and you want to be able to game while you're on the move, they're fantastic for that. But for common use, if you're primarily based at home, I would never recommend a gaming laptop. I would always say get a PC in a box, because ultimately you need to be able to upgrade it to keep things going, keep things up to date, as it were. But gaming laptops definitely have their place. It's just that they're kind of like an Apple product, you know. They're a sealed unit. They're not really meant to be tampered with at that point. You just plug things into them, but you never start to open them up and mess around like you do with a PC. The power of a PC is the fact that you can open it up, change things, upgrade things, and mess about. You can even take components out and use them somewhere else. With a gaming laptop, you can't do it. So that's my opinion, if you like, of a gaming laptop. Not really sure what you're looking for, but that's my feeling on it. Manchester, Newcastle. I've got a feeling we want to be going up the A1 here, so I need to be in that lane. Let's move over. Next question. Where are we? Oh hi. Oh, it's all crap, I think is what his name is. What a name. Would you like to see an Australian map and truck setups like Eurotruck using road trains, doubles, triples, and quads, B doubles, B triples, #CMCN? I think what he's trying to say there is, would you like to see an Australian map and lots of different truck trailer configurations like they have, like the insanity that they have over in Australia? Well, the short and sweet answer to that is most definitely yes. Come on, dude, let me over. I mean, who wouldn't? Road trains in America, road trains in Australia are pretty interesting things, aren't they? Let's face it. They have some enormous road trains. How the heck that would work in a game, I don't know. I can imagine chaos could ensue. Because let's face it, you can't turn those things around. You're pretty much going in a straight line. But that's okay, because Australia has quite a lot of straight line land, but it kind of has a lot of off-road stuff to it. If you think about Australia and how you would map it, apart from obviously the major cities, you know, in between the major cities, we're talking about vast stretches of very straight road over, you know, over sand, over almost desert-like conditions, occasionally drenched in water or having creeks running across and flooding the road. It's kind of more of a spin tyres environment, that. I don't think that Euro Truck in its current form could cope with simulating an Australian road at the level that you probably would want it to. And quite frankly, some of the Australian roads are so straight and so long, and the landscape's so barren, that it would actually be quite boring to drive down. I think. If you see what I mean. But in terms of driving around Australia, yeah, I'd love to. Of course I would. You know, I would be happy if they made a map of every country in the world. I'd love to drive on the different roads of the world. Who wouldn't? That'd be amazing. But Australia is obviously one of those places that is quite nice to drive. Sydney, Melbourne, all these places I'd love to be able to go around. Adelaide, Perth. But it's massive. Australia is absolutely huge. And a lot of the inland is there's just nothing there. So I don't know how they cope with that bit, because I don't think it would be of interest to anybody to drive across thousands of kilometres of straight, featureless road, which is often what these drivers have to put up with. But the road trains, oh yeah, bring that on. You couldn't bring a road train into this game though, into this map right now, and not even into the game, because it only allows a single articulation at the moment. They would have to allow multiple articulations for it to work, but it's doable. We know it's doable. Farming Simulator can do it. If you go play Farming Sim, you can get a tractor and you can hook it up to multiple trailers and you can just pull them around. So I don't see why Euro Truck couldn't do it. Once they do it though, it's going to be great fun. But I don't think SCS is going to do an Australian map anytime soon. I think they've got a lot on the plate. I think, you know, North America is next with American Truck Sim, and that's plenty of work for them, thank you very much. Interestingly, I've never seen a mod author do Australia. Like, I've seen various projects started, and I've been watching them, but they've not really built anything of any use yet. Which is a shame, because I was kind of looking forward to it. So I think we'll have to rely on somebody other than SCS doing it, because I really don't think SCS will. Not in the sort of medium term anyway. Next question comes from Chris J911. Why? And he put at Squirrel TV in his message. Please don't do that, dude. Please don't do that. You know, I'm almost tempted not to read your question, bro, because you did that. And I don't want other people to do it in the future, but I'm not going to be that guy, okay? So I'm going to read it. But please don't put at SQL TV. You don't need to do it, and I don't need it on my mentions line. Anyway, he says, why don't you post your Twitch videos to stream? I love your YouTube. I love watching your stream videos on YouTube, but no time for Twitch. Well, I think I've pretty much answered this before. I'm not going to do it, and there's no need to do it, because if you go to Twitch, click on my profile, click on past broadcasts, you can view any of my streams for the last 2 months. So Twitch will automatically let you do that. If you're ever stuck for something to do, or to watch, just go to my Twitch past broadcasts and watch something. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. I don't need to bring it to YouTube. Next question is from Miguel Tavaresel. Miguel Tavaresel? I think that's how we say your name, sir. Apologise if I got that wrong. What do you think? It's going to be the general direction for video games in the future? Wow. What do you think is going to be the general direction for video games in the future? Well, let's try and trend that one a little bit, shall we? If you think from the 80s, if you start in the 80s, because processing power was so, in quotes, bad, it was all about, well, what can we actually do given the power we've got? And even back in the 80s, people were trying to make flight simulators on a ZX Spectrum. You had the most horrendous graphics, like you had one line which represented the horizon, and a box, a rectangle, which represented the runway. And that was pretty much as good as it got. But it didn't stop people trying. But nowadays, we've got so much processing power and graphics power available. More or less, we can do anything we want. I think the next key thing for the next 10 years, and the big trend, is not making something look real. I think we've already achieved that now. Look out your window. We've already achieved that. That was always one of the big things for people to try and get, was to make something look as realistic as possible. Well, we're there, aren't we? It's going to get better and better, but we're pretty much there. The next big thing is the fact that we've networked ourselves together in a massive way. And the next thing is going to be, I think, the idea of massively multiplayer online. Now, massively multiplayer online is only restricted to a few things at the moment, if you think about it, and it tends to be RPG genre. I think that's going to change. I think certainly the simulation genre is going to merge into that MMORPG genre. You're already seeing little tastes of it in the terms of things like, I don't know, VATSIM and Pilot Edge networks, where some people can act as air traffic control, whilst other people are in a virtual aircraft. All of you are in a simulated world, but you need each other to do things in order for it to all function. And I think that's where it's going to go. I think you'll definitely see simulation move into that area. You've already got a taste of it coming with what SCS is talking about with Eurotruck multiplayer and the idea of virtual trucking companies and tracking your stats as you drive and picking up contracts like I've done here online. This is the start of it, people. This is where it's going to go. In 10 years' time, I would fully expect to be able to play a simulation game online in a massively online world. I would hope that there's a guy in that coach there driving. That's what I would hope. He's now in a coach driving in his own virtual trucking company, his own virtual coach company. I look up, I see a plane go overhead. That's somebody else in Flight Simulator. Yeah, his stats are being tracked as he's piloting that aircraft. Heck, there's even people sat in the back of his plane who are sat there looking out the window, in quotes, pretending to be passengers. I could fly an aircraft from Manchester up to Glasgow, and you guys, if you wanted to, could start up your clients and sit in the back. You could be a virtual passenger. You could look around, you would see each other, you can chat with each other while I fly that aircraft and land you. And when you get to the other end, you could get off the plane, walk into the check-in desk, and there'd be somebody else playing a security person who would check you through. I honestly think that's where everything's going to go. I think the whole massive online world has not even been exploited properly yet, and I think that's where it's all going to go. I think simulation has got a lot of merging to do with that online genre, and I think that's what's going to happen. That's the direction I see those kinds of games going anyway. Now, whether everything else will join that kind of world, I don't know, but I think simulation will. As for other video games, well, shooters are shooters. They already tried to make shooters into massive worlds. What was that one? The space one. PlanetSide. PlanetSide tried to do that with space battles with 100+ people in the area. It kind of died a death. It didn't really work. At the end of the day, epic, massive space battles are really, really hard for anybody to enjoy properly, because you feel like a very small part of something. You feel tiny. You can't control the battle. You can't influence the battle. All you can really do is just try and shoot anything that moves that's red. That's why I don't think they work. But simulation is absolutely ripe for joining the online world in that sense. Need to slow down here. I think we're better in that gear. Not got used to the Iveco gearbox fully yet. Wow, can they move the tree out the way, please? So I hope that answers your question. That's my kind of take on that. 30 miles per hour. Where are we? Oh, we're in Newcastle, blimey. Okay, so we're here already. I don't think I've got a chance for another question now. Let me have a look at the next question to see if it's a super quick question. Yeah, it is actually. Zim Games says, "Hey Paul, massive fan of you. Question, how did you stumble across Euro Truck Simulator 2? Ooh. Now, if I have to cast my mind back, if I remember, I think I've got a feeling it was because I played it before it came on Steam, so I definitely didn't find it on Steam. I think I saw it on a YouTube video. somebody, I just happened, you know, one of kind of YouTube's recommended for you. I must have watched something. And then next to it, it put a video that it recommended for me, which was a Euro Truck video. And I watched it and I thought, I really need to play that game. I need to try that. And then I think I went and bought it and I tried it and that's where it started. A lot of people, when I started playing trucks, I put out my first video. I got so many comments and tweets from people who knew me from DayZ and Battlefield going, dude, what are you doing? Trucks? Really? Why are you playing that game? And then months later, down the line, you know, after I'd put out quite a few videos, they started to try it and buy it, and they were like, oh my god, this is actually quite cool. I can't believe I'm driving a truck. You know, that's how it all got going. Pretty insane, really. Oops, I think I've messed that up. I've totally messed that up. Let's see if I can salvage that. Wow, this steering on this thing's actually kind of weird. He says blaming his equipment, lol. No, but it is. It kind of behaves in a slightly different way to... I don't know why. I think it turns sharper than you expect. That's what it is. Either way, that's some pretty sloppy reversing. Good grief. Not my finest moment. Come on. You can do it. There we go. Delivered. Hopefully I'm not late with all that talking. I was driving fairly slow. Excellent. World of Trucks contract completed too. Yay! That's my second contract for the online contract thing. It's probably pointless actually, because I think all the stats are going to get wiped anyway. This is 122 beta at the moment. So I think all the stats are going to get wiped. Where are we? Where's the nearest rest point? There's actually a little rest point around here. It's currently like midnight. And I need to make it daytime because that job that I took, because it's online, I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but when you take an online contract, once you accept it, the clock starts to tick. You can't just, oh, I'll accept that job, and then, oh, I need to go for my tea now, come back like 2 hours later, and then start the job like you can normally. It doesn't work that way. If you go and do that, you will guaranteed be late. You're guaranteed to be late for your job because the clock starts and you'll arrive there many hours late and you'll think, what the heck? Oh, we'll go that way. So it doesn't work anything like an offline job. If you're going to take an online job, make sure you can start it straight away and you can complete it there and then. Because if you don't, you're going to get done for it. That's the way it works. Let's go and park around the back here. Right next to a DAF. And another Iveco. Oh, cool. You know what? Let's park in between these two Ivecos. That's amazing. I want a Renault. Luckily, I can get in between these two. I can almost guarantee they won't be there in the morning. Watch this. Right, engine off. Engine off. Let's rest. I bet they've gone and left me. Oh, they're there, look. They're here. And the Renault's there. Scumbags, you lazy so-and-sos. You should have gone by now. Anyway, that's another episode of TMCN. I hope you enjoyed that. Please give me a like if you did. And don't forget, keep your questions coming. Tweet me, hashtag TMCN. Do not put at SQRLTV. It's not necessary. And from now on, I'm not going to be reading any questions that at mention me. So thank you very much. I'll see you on the next video, guys. Take care. Happy trucking.